You're at 11 and you're at 2.
While you're working on that, I'm going to write up another one.
I don't know. Can you make it's empty. I'm thirsty. But you have a water. Yeah, and it has gross.
So if you're hip to that scene, try this one afterwards.
I don't want to be hip to anything.
What if we're thigh to that?
Wait, what are you factoring it?
Paper?
You're factoring.
Is that the newest product?
Oh my god.
No, actually.
What? There was? Are you kidding me? I didn't see it.
Which ones? Did you put another one up?
I did, but it disappeared. It's somewhere down around here on my desk. When I slide down to it, I'll get to it.
Oh, frick, I forgot that. Sorry.
There we go. I'm way back on like. I just looked where I made. I'm not even on 45, right?
No, that whole question I wrote disappeared.
Guess we'll have to do it. Oh no. Is that a B and an A? Oh boy.
If you can do the green one, try the red one.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. It's scary.
Oh, wait, okay, no, I don't want to.
Upstairs.
There's one part. Okay, wait.
There's no
If he subs gone. The first part, if he subs times one trade, I don't know how do I know what it is? We basically
You do something with a negative one.
so look the negative one, it basically changes the positive and the negatives and so that they're the same, and then you can substitute for letters. And I chose W.
Hey, nice letter choice. W doesn't get a lot of play.
And he said that no.
So then basically, this is what you would do, right? And then you can substitute it. No, because you're doing the whole thing. The 2 and the X minus the 4.
Okay, who's missing?
My soul.
Byron's still gone? What, one little broken leg. He's got another one. Come on. We love you, Byron. We're just kidding.
He doesn't watch
Get better.
He doesn't even watch
Of course he doesn't. Byron doesn't like me. It's okay.
That's not true.
I talked about you and
Why
I
do you
guess
guys
it's
get
so offensive.
I know, right? I'm okay with
It's
it.
not you.
Yeah.
It's like Byron doesn't like you.
I talked to him at a party one time.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he's like, oh, why don't you like battle back and forth with him? Like you always give up. I always battle back and forth. And I was like, oh. That's my brother.
Mr. Rufus. I was a big fan of Mr. Rufus.
You thought I'm not.
Huh?
You thought you didn't like.
Oh, no, I loved Sean Rufus. He was a riot. I bought my son scout knife from him.
The
Hey!
Mr. Myers, what do you want for your birthday?
Huh?
What do you want for your
It's a test.
It's a test?
It's a test. I don't give anyone lists anymore because here's what happens. You give someone a gift list and they read the list and they're like, I don't want to get you any of that stuff. Then they get you something that they want to get you anyway. And then if you don't like it, they get mad.
Yeah, true.
And I say, if you ask me for a list, then get me something off the list. I'll still be surprised.
Oh, this one, I can do this one.
So I don't give lists. What I do is I say, you spend 80 minutes a day with me. You have spent 80 minutes a day with me for 2 semesters. You know me pretty well.
Yeah. You know what angers me? When people give me perfume for my birthday. Like, are they trying to tell me something or is it just a kind gesture? Like,
That is funny.
there was one year, like, do you remember?
My daughter just found out that very expensive perfume, one of the components of it is something that is barfed up by whales. Yeah. And she was like, that's gross, Dad. And she said, well, what is it? How does it go into perfume? I don't actually know, honey. I just know that whales barf it up, and it's really rare, and it's really expensive, and that's why super expensive perfumes are so expensive. So she went and Googled it, and she was like, whoa, well, it's funny. It doesn't smell good. It's the most disgusting smelling thing in the world, but it's what allows perfume to keep smelling. It's called ambergris, or ambergris if you're American.
All of the really expensive perfumes, they don't last enough.
-1 trick that I'm not
You're going to do the -1 trick. Sarah knows there's something to do with -1 because Sarah looks at this and Sarah sees an X and an X and a 7 and a 7. And Sarah thinks to herself,
What a wonderful world.
that looks a little bit suspicious. And then Evelyn takes over. Right. Or perhaps Gurpinder takes over.
Once it's not. We weren't finished.
I know you weren't finished. That's why I am asking you to take over.
I mean, like, we had, like, most of it, but we're trying to check our work. Most isn't the answer. We're trying to see if we did it right.
So, all right. So if you followed this method, Sarah says you do the -1 trick, which is just divide that by -1. So this becomes 3x minus 7 squared minus 2x minus 7 minus 5. And then Sarah says to herself,
I can substitute those X minus 7.
I can do that and make them, she chose a very fun letter, a fun-loving W. She went 3w squared minus 2w minus 5.
Oh my gosh.
And then she said to herself, okay, self, 3 times -5 is -15. So I got to multiply to -15 and I got to add to -2. What is it?
-5 and 3.
So it was w minus 5, but it's not 5. It's over 3. And it's not, and w plus 3, but it's not 3, it's over 3. And then she simplified and got 3w minus 5 and w plus 1. But there's no w. It's x minus 7. So it was 3x minus 7 minus 5 and x minus 7 plus 1, which was 3x minus 21 minus 5, which was 3x minus 26, x minus 6. And then is she done?
Nope.
No.
Is she or isn't she?
No.
Why isn't she?
Because this was Sarah's method.
Oh,
And Sarah is a she. I know I shouldn't be binary
it
in
wasn't
gender
even
that way.
I was just curious as to why, even and there was like this little sign in Zambia. You know how like the monument
Would it be this
buildings
part
have
of
the
the
sign?
question on
There was
the
like a
thing?
really big propeller, and the sign was like describing it as a she. Like she was a big propeller back then.
Yes.
I was like,
Yes. Boats,
Yeah,
cars,
boats.
planes often are designated as female for whatever reason. All right. Are we done? Of course we are. Because 3 and 26 don't have a common factor. That's finished. Now, could you have done it another way?
Probably.
Could you
Done.
have expanded all that out, collected all your like terms, and then factored?
Yeah.
Yes, but you would have been left with this. 3x to the 6th minus 18 minus 26 minus 44x plus 156. And you would have had to factor that. Which is barf-tastic.
Don't get it go.
Is it even possible?
Yeah, because you would have done 3 times 156 and found factors that it's doable because that's the answer. Yes, the answers are 26 and 6.
Oh, I see.
Or 34. Sorry, that should have been 34.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Aight. So then I asked you to have a look at this one. Ugh. Bleh.
Gross.
But it isn't really, because what do you notice there and there? And what do you notice there and there? So isn't this 2x squared plus 7xy plus 3y squared? Isn't it? Great. So 2 times 3, I need to multiply to 6 and add to 7. What is it? 6 and 1. So it's x plus 6, but it's not plus 6, over 2. And it's not just that, it's a y. And it's x plus 1, but it's not really 1, it's 1 over 2 with a y. So the answer is really x plus 3y and 2x plus y. But there are no x's and y's. What is x really?
8 plus 3.
A plus 3. And what is y really? B minus 4 times 2a plus 3 plus b minus 4, which is a plus 3 plus 3b minus 12, which is a plus 3b minus 9. And this is 2a plus 6 plus b minus 4, which is 2a plus b plus 2.
Mr. Myers, you have an extra bracket on the 8 plus 3 plus 3 thing. On the first one.
No.
No, down a bit. More over to
Wait.
the left.
Down.
See, you've got an extra bracket.
Yes,
right
I don't
there.
need that first bracket.
There you go.
Fixed it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, in response to the inevitable question that was already asked by Amshuman, but I railroaded and steamrolled over him because I don't like it when you guys ask that question. Is anything like this going to be on the test? Is this factoring?
Yeah.
So could it be on the test?
Probably.
There you go. The answer is always what? No. Yes. Because you were asking is could it be on the test? Would if I gave you a question that wasn't factoring, would that be on your factoring test?
Probably not.
No, because it's a test on factoring.
Unless you get like hit.
If it's factorable, is it possible for me to put it on your test?
Unless the printer messes up again.
That's possible too. Or I print it all out and put a pile somewhere on my desk and lose it.
Yeah. That.
But my desk is fairly tidy right now. Chances are okay. Yeah? Yeah, sure. You betcha. Are we good with factoring?
It's so good. It's great.
Okay, factoring's done.
Burn it.
What if we did this? Just for fun. It's frozen.
Is it really fun?
It's not really fun, but I could teach you guys how to factor if you're really interested in factoring. If factoring turns your crank like it turns mine, I could teach you how to factor this. Cubes.
Cube roots. Wait, how do you do cube roots? There's like two negatives and a positive.
Nobody?
X
Are you sure?
minus y, x plus y, x minus
Harmon, speak up.
I think.
Thanks, Harmon. So, what is factoring?
Finding factors of that.
Yeah. Nice job. It's the reverse of distribution, right? Well, you don't need space. This isn't going to be on your test. This isn't going to be on your test. This is just because some people might slightly be interested. Some people aren't. They're talking about other things. That's okay. They're not interested in this. That's cool. I got no problem with that. But some of you might be interested in this. So,
70 if you learn about average dog height. That's
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, that's what we're moving on to. It's not a hand. She's brushing her hair. So, this is you can also, believe it or not, factor a sum of cubes, not just a difference of cubes, like with squares.
There's more than
Oh, look at you. It's like you're thinking about math when you don't even have to.
boy. I should stop. While
Wait. I got a funny joke here. Wait.
I don't get it.
My heart is racing because she's thinking about math without having to know to. Nothing?
Nobody.
It's making my... Never mind.
I laughed.
Thank you, Kayla.
You're welcome, Mr. Myers.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Surprise, surprise.
Because he's like,
It's like in the cartoons where like the heart like literally like comes
literally
out.
see their heart.
And it's literally
I get that, but I get what Sarah said. What is that?
like the Spanish, she's enthusiastic about math without having
Oh
to
yeah, okay, I get it then. I get it.
Without
Oh, yeah, no problem.
I thought there was
The time has passed.
Without having to look.
Without having to know
Analyze
it.
things too much.
I know, right? It totally wrecks it. It's hurtful.
I thought
Sorry
jokes are
they've
better-
done you wrong,
better
like-
than-
They have. I've been treated shabbily.
You do not deserve to be treated shabbily.
I thank you. All right. So, this is the reverse of distribution, right? You all know that, right? Because x squared minus y squared is x plus y, x minus y, right? If I distribute that out. Okay? So, let's see if we can build something up from nothing. All right? We'll start with this.
What is that?
All right. Now, what do I have there? What is this whole thing? It's a factor. Thank you, Leighton. It's a factor. And what is this whole thing?
Factor.
It's a factor as well. Right? And we know if we expand that out, we would get a full-on polynomial, yes? So let's expand that out. Y cubed, yeah? Right? Plus 2y squared plus 4y minus 2y squared minus 4y minus 8. What happens to everything in the middle? It's all gone, and I'm left with y cubed minus 8, yes? Does 8 have a cube root? So this is the difference of cubes, yes? Is everybody cool? Okay, so now look, see if you can build your own factor rules from this. If this is the end result, the product, and that is the factors, can you build something like square root of a plus square root of b times square root of a minus square root of b, like we did over here, right? What can we do? What do you notice about cube root and the first term? What do you notice? What do you notice about the relationship between y and y cubed?
Y is the cube root of y cubed.
Yeah, right? So this has to be the cube root, right? And you guys are smart kids. I know that when I distribute, I need a y cubed here, right? So what has to go here?
Y squared.
Y squared. Okay. What's my last term?
Oh, no.
The last term.
I needed a negative 8, right?
Yeah.
So what did I need here?
No.
Look at what I have there. 2. What's 2? 2's relation to 8. Cube root again, isn't it? So this must be a single, right? If this was y cubed, then this isn't a y, so what would we put there? In this case, because it's x, but we're trying to do a general one like this, right?
Put down what the.
So since this was already like this isn't a y, so I can't use y again. What could I use? Any other letter. So this would be x, right?
Okay, I see.
Agreed? Okay. So this was that number squared. What's this? What's the relationship between 2 and 4?
No, 2 squared.
2 squared. So what must be out here?
X squared.
X squared. Look at you. This was negative, and I had a negative and a positive, right? So what must this be?
Positive.
Positive. Excellent. Now, how do we do the middle? What's the middle?
The square roots times multiplied by each other. The cube roots multiplied by each other.
xy
Yeah.
plus xy. And now you have a plan to do cube roots. Now, what if this was y cubed plus 8? What do you think it would be?
Then it would be plus x.
Y plus x.
Y plus x, okay. Y squared. What would this one be?
Plus
Plus.
xy.
You've
No, I would be
Then
minus xy, and what would the last one have to be?
plus
What?
x squared.
X squared. Now you have a plan to do cubes. All built on your knowledge of factoring. Now, did I teach you that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, right now, yeah.
Did you take anything that you didn't know?
No.
Is there anything up there that you didn't know?
No.
No. You built it from nothing. Now, do you see why it is frustrating for us math teachers when you guys do a question and you do the next question and you say you don't know how to do it? You just built a whole new formula all by yourself.
Wow.
And yet you still tell me that I could do 6A and I can't do 6B.
We're special.
I know that.
Some of us are very special.
All right, it's 12:30. I was hoping to take the whole day on factoring, but it's not going to happen. You guys are too good. I was hoping that might take us through, but it doesn't. So we got to move on. If you would all be so kind as to turn to page...
170.
Is it 170?
For me it is. Wait, do you want the outline or the first page?
Well, here's the thing. This page is going to be... this section is going to be a little messed up for my page numbers for you guys.
That page is 175.
This page is 170. See, I have it as page 2, which is a little frustrating. But that's okay. We'll sort it out. We're smart people. Like I said, there's no real math today. It's every math day is a fun day. At least that's how I look at you guys. I guess you don't feel the same.
I'm really used to people not feeling this.
Okay. So again, the beginning of this unit has a lot of terminology that I'm going to be using for the rest of the year. Yes, I am indeed. So,
We're trying to see how big the malamute is. How big is what did I need? Why did you measure like that? What the heck? Okay, here it is. Okay, that's pretty. That's pretty big, but not like that. Okay, I'll put it. Now we know. Knowing is half the battle. The more you know.
do you know what that's actually from?
That's from G.I. Joe.
Okay, just checking. Not everybody knows that. Yes, at the end of every G.I. Joe cartoon, you got a small talking to from a G.I. Joe character.
That's kind of cool.
They also did it at the end of the He-Man cartoons.
What are He-Man?
You
Yeah.
bet.
Oh,
You
the
bet.
I have the power. Is that
His cat, Dr. Claw, had a cat. Huh? Yeah, Dr. Claw. He had a cat. You never saw his face. You don't. Because you don't. You only see his arm because he's Dr. Claw. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. All right, so let's do some math now that we've had our fun.
Remember the robot in Spix again? It was terrifying.
Okay, so
You're singing it wrong.
all right. A set is anything you can count. Now, English has stolen set theory from math class because all of you have been in English class and you've all made one of these.
Oh,
Right?
diagrams, oh my god.
And you have, this is Pony Boy,
Yeah!
and this is Soda Pop. And Pony Boy's characteristics are over here, and Soda Pop's characteristics are over here, and anything they share is in there. And then every grade 8 teacher said, what happens when you add dairy? And then if he was really, or she, no, dairy is the big brother. The big brother. And then if they were really challenging you, then they put in a fourth circle and put Dally.
Mama or Dallas?
And
No, it's Dallas. Dallas.
yes, Dallas, but they called him Dally, right?
Guys, please, I have a very important question to ask.
Do you?
Yes, well, I think it's important. Which one? Okay, Darius the older brother, so then who's Dally?
Dally is the buddy.
That is just, dude, that is the...
He's the guy that actually kills the guy.
Would you consider
Dallas and do that guy.
what's this called?
No, that's
The Outsiders?
Thank you. A work of English literature.
Of course it is.
Mrs. Vaughn says it is.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
I think the real
Okay.
why did they come around Carol and the rest of their other two kids Pony Boy and Soda Pop?
So, we all know what a set is. Each circle is a set. In the Pony Boy part, you put his characteristics. Loyal, loving, thinking, sensitive, wussy, lame, go away.
What describing ponies and
Then you go into Soda Pop. Cool. That's all you need. Because cool is one of those good words that covers everything. So, spoiler alert.
It's like the first chapter.
And then
cherry valence. Now, data singular is a datum.
Oh. The more you know. The more you know.
An element is a datum, a single piece of data. So, if the set is students in here, then what is an element of the set?
I am.
One student. If the set is teachers in here, what is the element? Myers, just me. Is it possible in math to have an empty set with no elements?
Why not?
Yes. Let me illustrate it.
I feel like when we
Bye, Mr. Maris.
Bye. Oh, hey, everybody has a big one.
Empty set. No teacher in here. So there were no elements in that set. Did that affect your set?
Kind of.
No.
No. Because your sets
It might have if you stayed
didn't
up there
change.
long enough.
Although we
Left.
felt empty.
directionless, rudderless, if you will.
Exactly.
All right. Everybody cool?
Like, you're a part of us, so we felt empty without.
All right. So now a relation is no, it's not you guys. It's my. There we go. A relation is when data from one set is compared to another set. Okay? So, let me give you an example. This is room A301, yeah? In this room, we could come up with a million ways to classify ourselves into sets, but I'm going to do the boring, easy one. Students, teacher, yeah? Okay, so we have two sets in this room. One set is made up of 30 elements. The second set is made up of one element, yeah? Okay. In this room, there is a relation, right? There are 30 students to one teacher. Yeah? Okay, it's also a ratio. Excellent. Now, can we take this room's sets and relate them to room A300? Yes. How many teachers are in there? One. Mr. DeVries. How many students are in there?
About 30.
Say 30. Does everybody understand?
Yeah.
Now, over in that room, the adult is probably standing somewhere near the front of the room, yes? As am I. So we are related. Everybody with me?
Yeah.
Everybody good? All right.
Are you like cousins
So,
or?
let us move on to this question. Well, not question, this construction we have here.
I like
We
to criticize the chart.
we have here a chart, yes? Right?
Yes.
Sarah has something to say that I'm going to keep talking while she soberly second thinks about what she is going to say and if it really applies to what I am doing right now since we are running out of time. And you will notice that her hand came down.
I'm thinking. They don't tell you what units the numbers are.
Excellent. You've almost like you have given me away. What is on this chart?
Doggies.
The heights of dogs.
We have a title. We have a title. We have an x-axis. We have a y-axis. We have data. We have sets. We have a set of dogs. And we have a set of height. Now, there is something missing. This should have a scale, shouldn't it? This should be in centimeters. All right?
If it was a 90 centimeter or 90 inch tall dog,
That would be a frightening dog.
what if it was like 90 miles?
That would make me,
Awesome.
that would once again remind me how happy I am that whether you believe it or not, whether you believe in extinction or not, and evolution or not, even if you believe the world is only 6,000 years old, you have to be aware that at one point there were skeletons of animals on the world that were utterly frightening. And I'm very glad
The giant bugs.
that most of those animals are long since gone. Because the thought of walking around a corner and bumping into a stegosaurus is utterly frightening. Even though I know they were plant eaters,
But you kind of look like a leaf if you're like.
I got no problem with that. Okay, so now, can you tell me the elements of one of the sets?
Chihuahua.
Excellent.
Hate chihuahuas.
So do I. They're not even an animal. Speaking of evolution, hound, chihuahua. I'm too lazy to even write the word out because I don't think they should exist.
Why is there like. Yes!
Corgis, again, a very strange dog. If you're not aware of what corgis are, they look like a normal dog,
It's like with the long nose.
but they're bushy and they have very short legs. They're like a bushy wiener dog, but not full length. The queen likes them. The queen is
Yes.
the queen is very up on corgis.
Queen's
I don't
very
know
wide.
why.
They're like
Lab, shepherd, and Malamute. Now,
Just saying.
one set. What are the elements of the other set?
The numbers.
The numbers. Excellent. And what are they?
0.
Oh, no, no,
Oh,
no.
no, no.
The
But
hound
did you
is
say that an element can be?
60.
No, an element's a single thing. But 10 through 90. But there's like wait, it can be
No.
less. 1,
No.
2, 90.
Guys, set elements are pieces of data. 1 through 90 are not pieces of data.
1, 2.
No. Data is a piece of information. 1 means nothing. Thank you. 60 is one element. What's the next one?
I was right. Oh, Chihuahua. That's like 13.
10.
13.
Great. Corgi.
12.
Corgi is 30.
Lab.
Lab is about
45.
45.
Shep.
45.
Malamute.
is 60. 80. Sorry.
We were measuring it. They're
Now,
very big dogs.
do I have a relation?
Yes.
Yes, because elements of one set, the dogs, are related to elements of the other set, the various heights which I have. Right? If I say to you, Lindsay, how tall is a corgi? 30 centimeters. Well done, Lindsay. If I say to you, Sam, what dog is 80 centimeters tall? A Malamute. Excellent. Is everybody good? All right. So what I have here is a graph of the relation between dog breed and average height. Yes? Is everybody cool? It is a relation because those two sets, the data is shared between them. Agreed? Now, anytime you compare two pieces of data, you have what is called a relation. Anytime you compare them. The reason we teach you guys this is because this is one of the most easily manipulated mathematical principles that you will ever see. And suckers believe it when other people who are smarter than them manipulate these relationships to mess with your heads. Let me give you an example. All teachers have two. No, that's not fair to say. Wait, this will be better. All teachers in this school have two hands. Does everyone agree? Excellent. That's true, yes? Okay. So is that a relation? There's a set of teachers, right? They all have two hands. Cool? All right. All trying to do this so it's not offensive to anybody. I don't care. You're right, it is impossible.
Yeah, millennials.
All mass murderers have two hands.
Do they?
Just work with me here.
Captain Hook does it. Smart.
Everybody with me? Everybody cool? Is that a relationship? Excellent. Now, therefore, all teachers are mass murderers. Of course not. Now, you guys realize that is a stupid relationship, yes? But the media does this type of crap to you all the time. Okay? They take two completely unrelated sets of information, compare them to each other, and expect you to believe it. Let me give you a more real-life example. Over the course of the last 3 or 4 years of the federal Conservatives' reign in government, the Canadian dollar lost value to the American dollar. Is everybody with me? Okay. The Conservatives at the time said, we cannot help that. We are at the mercy of world events. Okay? In the early part of the Conservatives' power, the Canadian dollar was almost the same as the American dollar and flirted with being worth more than the American dollar. If the Conservative government couldn't help it when our dollar was in the tank, then what should they have said when our dollar was the same?
Let's keep it this way.
No.
That they couldn't help it.
That they couldn't help it, they are at the mercy of world events. But what did they do? They said, thank goodness we're in power. Look what we've done for the value of your money. And the voting public, because they don't pay attention to math, oh yeah, that's absolutely right. If it wasn't for them, whew. Does everybody see what I am saying? Here's another example. We have not raised taxes in the last 10 years. Oh, they haven't. My taxes haven't gone up. It's been the same government. They haven't raised taxes. Good relationship.
They smart people.
But of course, what did they really do? They raised fees on everything. My driver's license now costs me twice as much to get as it did before. But when you boil it down to one relationship, it's easy to manipulate. Now, just for fun, I like to show you guys a particularly absurd version of what I just explained to you.
Sounds like fun.
Data is data, yes?
No, it's data.
No, it isn't. Data is data, yes? Data does not lie. I am 5 foot 7 inches and 3/4 of an inch tall. That is just true. It is neither good nor bad. It is simply a fact. The problem is data can be manipulated, again, to fool people. Now, watch this. This guy is my favorite. Here we go. This has 2 sets of data, yes? In the red line, U.S. spending on science, space, and technology. As you can see, Americans have spent more and more money on science, space, and technology between 1999 and 2009, yes? Data.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the amount of suicides in America has risen on almost exactly the same curve.
So the more they spend on science,
So according to the media, if you wished, you could say the more we, if you weren't against science spending, the more we spend on science, the more suicides there are.
What?
Of course, that is idiotic, isn't it? But here it is, data proving it. Here's another one. This is a good one. Look at the line on the next one. Number of people who drown by falling into a pool. That's trouble, right? There's statistics for that. We can chart that. Turns out, when Nicolas Cage makes a movie, it follows a very similar pattern. Look at what happened in 2007. He made 4 movies, and there was a massive spike in drownings in pools. Idiotic.
We need to stop Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
I'm ready to riot.
Stop, make this case.
Do you see where I am going with this?
Yes. Show us-
Data works, but it is not sensible. This is a good one. Per capita cheese consumption.
Oh my god.
So, as Americans ate more and more cheese, more and more people died being tangled in their bed sheets.
Just shy of 800 people.
I know, that's really the funny part of this. Somehow, in 2008, 800 Americans died by becoming tangled in their bed sheets.
And your computer just died.
Like per person?
Yes, per person.
God. Ready?
Decide every time this does not cost one computer.
So, do you see where I am going with this? This is what you can do with statistics. The divorce rate in Maine. There will be less divorces in Maine if we limit people's consumption of margarine. I agree with that because margarine is
Real
evil.
butter is real marriage.
Real butter is real food.
Butter.
I love sour cream.
I can believe it's not butter.
What even is margarine made out of? I just don't
Here's
know.
another one, whipped oil.
Oh, wow.
As Miss America's age changes, so indeed does the murder rate by steam, hot vapors, and hot objects.
What does that mean?
That means somebody,
Maybe it's because Miss America.
there were,
2009.
in 2005, 8 people in America were murdered with steam. Yes.
What?
Have you never seen like screen rings where
Is
they're
it
like
kind of like an iron?
Now, I like this one. I like this one. As arcades make more and more money, more and more people get into computers.
I mean, that sounds pretty accurate.
That sounds actually.
That one might be an actual good correlation.
That actually makes sense.
Because, of course, for you guys, the thrust right now for you guys is forget university, go get a trade.
No, I
Yes.
no.
Trade is where it's at right now. Now, when I was your age, it was, you don't want to get a trade. You got to go to university. But then, of course, there became a shortage of tradespeople, right? And now there's too many university-educated people serving coffee at Starbucks. But what will happen now is you get hundreds of thousands of people going into the trades, then we will have a glut of tradespeople and not enough people to teach the tradespeople how to be tradespeople. All right, so as you can see, you have to be very careful with data. Because as you can see, it is quite obvious that you can relate any two things, whether they are really relatable or not. So if I were in, say, the cheese industry, should I be worried about that particular correlation? No, of course not, because it's idiotic. But on a slow news day, could you picture a news media outlet comparing two things that have no business being compared? Right. That's the point of where I am going. And we are going to stop there.